Well, hello,
Gentlemen,
everybody. Hey,
Hello,
Ken,
hello, hello.
Ron Hooper, how are you guys doing? It is Thursday afternoon, so we're doing our Term Limits Revolution broadcast. Welcome, everybody.
welcome. How you doing, guys?
Doing well indeed. Listen, I wanted to,
Ken,
real-
Mr. Clark, you're doing extremely well today, and whatever has got you fired up and going, you need to share that with all of us today because you've been
well,
like a little happy on the cloud here.
I'll share a little bit of personal information with everybody and why I'm in such a good mood. Last night, my mother, she lives in a retirement community, and most retirement communities around the country are in lockdown, and it's very difficult to get in to see your family. And last night I saw my mom, and we had ice cream sundaes and just had a terrific visit, and it was really, really good for the soul. So that's one of the reasons why I'm in such a terrific mood. Plus, I've got my grandkids here, and they're visiting, and that's always a lot of fun. And so, it's just all around good times. So
good. I hope to see my mom pretty soon as well. So that's good. All right.
Well, let me jump into this real quick, and I want to briefly touch base on something that we talk about pretty much every broadcast, but it's important because there's always a lot of confusion. Most people have voted on ballot initiatives inside their states on whether or not to have term limits on their state legislatures. And so we constantly get the same feedback: put this on the ballot and we will vote for it. You can't put term limits for United States Congress on the ballot. Thornton versus U.S. term limits, 1995, was a Supreme Court decision that said, in essence, if you want to put term limits on Congress, you've got to amend the Constitution.
We just posted that on the site so people can look that up and study that U.S. term limits versus Thornton.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ron, for doing that. There were a whole host of states. There were 20 plus states that had limited the terms of their own congressional delegations prior to that. Guy out of Arkansas named Thornton didn't like it. He got upset. He sued us and he won. The Supreme Court decided that the states don't have the authority to limit the terms of their own congressional delegation, which I think is crazy, but that's what they said. So now we've got to amend the Constitution in order to get it done. So that is the process. That is where we are, and that's why. So you will never be able to vote on it inside your state or on a national initiative because there are no such things. And so, Ron, why don't you dive into real quickly how we have to get this accomplished?
Yeah, we need to do it just like the 22nd Amendment that limits the president to 2 terms. And you get an amendment by 2 ways. Either going through Congress or through an Article 5 Convention of States, which is a power given to states to right a major wrong in our congressional government, which if not now, when? And so we do have, and we're trying both methods. We have Congress people that do sponsor bills in Congress that propose our U.S. term limits on both houses of Congress. It never, for the most part, even comes up for a vote, much less passes through committee. And so that really leaves us with the state initiative, and that's where we're at today. We need to get 34 states to agree to call for a convention. That forces Congress to call that convention. And then after we agree on the terms of that initiative, then it goes to 38 states for ratification. A very high bar, but very important.
Whoa. Are you guys asking for a constitutional convention?
No.
What? Whoa.
No. What do you mean, you guys? What is this, you guys?
What you're trying to do with the constitutional convention?
No, in fact, my good friend Quinn has done a wonderful job of really lining out the difference between a constitutional convention and an Article 5 convention. In fact, we use that all the time to really show the difference between those 2 things. Major difference. Why don't you elaborate on that, Mr. Quinn?
Just having a little fun there, everybody. Excuse me. Yeah. All right. So this comes up all the time. And if you've been following our live broadcast for any time at all, you know that we deal with a lot of nonsense, a lot of lot of groups out there and people that like to lie about what we're all about and what this process is. And
You mean people lie about us?
yeah, we've got groups on the left and the extremist groups on the left and the right constantly lying that and they call it a con, meaning it's a constitutional convention that can rewrite the entire Constitution and yada, yada, yada. And so
it's the most amazing argument I've ever heard because it just doesn't make sense. We saw the Equal Rights Amendment, that it took forever. It never did get 38 states, didn't even get close. And so it just shows you that it's such a high mark. It's such a silly argument. But we hear it all the time.
Yeah, and we'll be covering more on this. There's a huge difference between a constitutional convention and an Article 5 convention. If you just read Article 5, people, not you people, but the naysayers, if you just read Article 5, and if you have a fifth grade English, if you graduate the 5th grade, it says a convention for proposing amendments. And then it says after the ratification, it gets ratified to this Constitution. So
Keyword being this.
This Constitution.
Yeah.
So anyone with a simple readability of English can understand this process. It's those folks that want to cause division and use fear to try to prevent legislators from doing this, that they want us to think it's a con. And so we'll cover more of that stuff in the future. If you want to learn more, go to our YouTube channel. I put together a Article 5 playlist, and we address a lot of that in that playlist. And we'll be doing more in the coming weeks. So let's...
one of the things that, before you move on, one of the things that cracks me up so much about all that is they actually claim that we can change the ratification process at the convention, and that the convention can do whatever it wants, and it has all this authority. They have no more authority than to make a suggestion, period. End of story. It just, all this fear mongering that goes on.
Well, it's like they're making up as they go along. I heard the other day where Congress will remake the rules. Congress has no control over this, and it's just like they make up on the way along the way. I couldn't believe somebody actually testified to that.
Yeah.
So what I want to do, I'm going to pull up my little presentation here if I can get right to there we go. Okay, so today I want to cover a little bit of history with everybody, and I love this quote by John Dickinson. He was a delegate to the Philadelphia Convention, 1787, which was a true constitutional convention. And during the debates there, he said, "Experience must be our only guide. Reason may mislead us." And I just love that quote. What I do in my presentations is I change that just a little bit, and I change it to "Experience must be our only guide. Fear may paralyze us." And so we are going to overcome fear of an Article 5 convention. And once you start looking at all of our experience with conventions, this is really such a pathetic argument. One of the things we hear all the time is that, oh, there's no rules. There's no precedents. We don't know how it's going to work. The only one we've ever had was the 1787 convention. And what a bunch of nonsense that is. Now, today, what I want to cover, I'm not going to address previous conventions of states. That'll be another topic. What I want to show everybody today is the history, the experience that we have with conventions. And I'm referring to state constitutional conventions and state amendment conventions. And so...
Well, hey, Quinn, wait a minute. What's the difference between a state constitutional convention and a state amendments convention?
Great question. Well, one is to adopt a new constitution, and one is to propose amendments to the current constitution, just like Article 5.
Oh, you mean those are two different things? I'm sorry, I'm being really sarcastic, but I just can't help myself.
I know, but this is our experience with conventions. And when I started digging into this, it was really this great book. Let me just let me pull up my screen here if I can show you real quick. This book the American State Constitutional Tradition, really good resource. I've got another one that some of this information has come from. This is a website. This is the Maryland State Constitutions Project. And if you notice, well, you probably can't see it. 1 second. Let me get right page. There we go. Now, what's fascinating is that there has actually been, I'm going to get into more details, 233 constitutional conventions. Okay. Now, out of those, when I say that, let me just use the term conventions, because out of those 233, 146 constitutions were adopted by the states. Now, we're just talking state constitutions. All 50 states have a constitution, and they're all been adopted through a convention. Okay, so this is something we have a long, rich history with. But I want you to see this, is that there have been over 12,000 amendments to those 50 state constitutions. Okay, 12,000. And what's neat about it is half of those 12,000 came out of conventions. Here's a quote from that book I just showed you. It says, all told, the 50 states have held 233 constitutional conventions, adopted 146 constitutions, and ratified over 6,000 amendments to their current constitutions. Now, boys, would you say that's some good experience right there?
You know, that is amazing, because how many times have we been anywhere on the ground in a whole host of different states, testifying in committees, doing what we do, and people will say, nobody knows what the rules are. This has never been done before. We don't have a history of this. This is uncharted territory, yada, yada, blah, 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 BS. I mean, come on.
I know. And I remember when you were in Louisiana, I think Louisiana has had the most constitutions adopted, right?
That's right, it has. And they're getting ready to do it again.
Yeah.
The last one was done in the 70s, and I think they're getting ready to do it again.
To give you a little background, I live in Maine. The next state over is New Hampshire. They are the state with the most conventions. They've had 17 in their history. 2 of those were to adopt a new constitution. The remaining 15 were to propose amendments. And I think out of those 15 conventions, I think over 240 something amendments were proposed and about 130 ratified. So this is something that we have a tremendous amount of experience in. And here is a table of contents from that book showing you the constitutions, the conventions that have been held in all the states. And so this is a great resource. Maine just had one. So Maine's like at the lowest of all these. Here's a few more. Look at that.
I was wrong. Louisiana's last one was in 92. I remember the 73, 74 one, but I forgot about the 92 one.
Yeah, so a lot of these have been within our lifetime. So nothing to fear. We know how it works. We know the rules. In fact, you can go, I think we have over 115 of the archives of these conventions so that you can look up the rules that they used, and we can just use the exact same rules because nothing changes. And what I want to share with everybody here, and this is really kind of unique because we hear all the time, in Article 5 convention, you can't control, it can't be limited. What a bunch of nonsense. That is what an Article 5 convention is. It's for one amendment that the states agreed upon by passing a resolution by 2/3. That it is a limited convention, and that's all the evidence, all the writings, all the framers specifically said that. And right here at the state level, look at this quote, moreover, a number of the conventions that were held in the latter part of the 20th century were limited in the topics that they were permitted to address.
Well, yeah, I mean, the whole point in invoking Article 5 is to limit what the convention can propose. That's the whole point. If the states wanted to get together and rewrite the Constitution, they could do that. They would be outside of Article 5. They'd be outside of the Constitution. But if the 50 states decided that's what they wanted to do, they could get together and do it. The whole reason to invoke Article 5 is to limit what can or cannot be even discussed at the convention.
Exactly. And here's another quote from that book about Tennessee. It says, Tennessee is a leading example, has been through constitutional conventions. And in fact, 5 limited conventions were called in Tennessee in the second half of the 20th century alone in order to enact constitutional changes. So this is done on a fairly regular basis. We haven't seen as many in the past 20 to 30 years as there had been in the previous century near the end of the 20th century. But I know New York was voted on possibly having one. I think it was last year or 2018. I think they passed on it, but we'll see more conventions in the future. This is how America operates. This is how we.
Well, and the uniform law commissions, you've talked about that in the past, so that happens all the time.
Yeah, and I'll be addressing that when we talk about conventions of states. But now here's a great resource. If you go find the online Library of Liberty, I get a lot of information from this. This guy, Francis Newton Thorpe, he was commissioned by Congress to do a report on not only the federal convention or constitution, but the state constitutions. This is a 7-volume set. And I think it goes up to, I forget what year he, late 1850s or something. So if you want to look at all these constitutions that were adopted, you can find them right here. It's a deep, deep dive into all that. And it's just fascinating. So for those naysayers out there that claim, well, we don't know how this is going to operate, yada, yada, yada. They are completely ignorant. In fact, when I was testifying in New Hampshire, the members of the legislature were completely unaware of their own history. And so that's why whenever I testify, I try to do some research on the state I'm in and get that information out so that they can realize, wow, we've actually done this ourselves. And to make such, I hate to say it, ignorant statements. It's like, come on, guys.
Well, let's be honest. And I appreciate you trying to be politically correct, Ken, but there are those out there that are not just ignorant. They are willfully lying about us. And it's those that want to maintain the status quo. It's those that want to keep the career politicians in place. 84% of the American public want term limits on Congress. The other 16% are elected officials. No, I'm kidding. But
it's right. And the parties they belong to. It shows you the ultimate control both parties have over the politicians. It's really the parties. In fact, we're smack dab in the middle of that right here in Arizona, where the parties say, hey, if you vote for term limits, we're going to primary you on the next election. And they come right out and tell them that. And so it's in their best interest to keep career politicians being career politicians. And they will do everything in the world to maintain that power.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So last week, didn't we have a homework assignment last week?
I was on vacation.
Oh, that's right, Ron. What was the homework assignment last week?
We did. I remember the homework assignment. It had to do with our Facebook page. Does anybody remember? I remember.
Let me refresh everyone's memory. So
I think we wanted to get 500 likes, right?
No.
No.
Yeah. Okay.
So get our page up to 1 million.
Yeah,
1 million.
Yeah, let's get to 1 million, guys. I want to see a nice big round number on the number of Facebook likes. And so last week I shared how you can go to our U.S. Term Limits Facebook page, right where this is playing right now. Just go to the top. If you hit the little, what do they call it, a hamburger? It's got the 3 dots. I think it's called a hamburger. Don't ask me why. But you click on that, and down the bottom it says invite friends. And that's what I did last week, and I'm still getting friends liking it. So I'm seeing folks that are liking it. If everyone can do that, we got to get to 1 million. I'm not going to be happy or satisfied until I see a nice big 1 with a bunch of zeros. Okay, so let's get that done. I'm going to
even the Con people ought to like us, because if it wasn't for us, they'd have no platform at all.
No, I don't want them on. We'll keep them. We'll keep them on their own page. They're annoying.
All right.
So anyway, please help us get to 1 million. Share our page. Put it up on your. Share our page on your Facebook. Send it out in an email and invite your friends. Let's see this thing ramping up. because we're heading into now, we're still in summertime, but we're going to be starting to work on our resolutions in the states come fall, get them introduced as sessions begin, and we're going to need a lot of people in a lot of different states to help us with this. So now's the time to help us grow this, especially when folks are kind of held up at home right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they are. And, to those that would suggest all talk, no action, do something, my question is,
did you make that comment? Is that guy back?
Yeah, he is. And my question to that individual, Doug, is, have you been to a hearing? Have you helped testify in a hearing where we have a resolution pending before the state legislatures to call for an Article 5 convention to propose as term limits? Have you signed the petition? Have you reached out to your legislator? What have you done? This is what we do every single day.
For those people it's time to put up or shut up.
Absolutely.
Put up or shut up. And so this is
quarterbacks, man.
This is what
it's easy to.
Let me finish here. And this is something that if you're just going to gripe and complain about nothing being done, we don't need you. If you're going to do that, step up to the plate. And you know what? That's going to lead me right into our next segment, because here's what we want you to do, and we're going to track this. I'm going to copy all the people on the thread that are saying stuff like that, and let's see if they produce. Let's see if they put up. And so here, this is what I want you to do. Ken, I want you to post that link. And
it's posted.
All right.
Posted, my brother.
All right. For those of you that want to see some action, we want to see you do some action, because we do this every single day. And here's your homework assignment. I want you to go to that link that Ken has just posted. And we need you to reach out to your state senator and your state rep. And in fact, anybody running for those offices in your district. And we want you to get a pledge signed by them. And I want you to send it in to us. And this is how you're going to do it. This is one of the ways. If you go to the link, this shows you how you can do this on Facebook. And I'm just going to go through the pages here real quick. I walk you through how to find your legislators, and then go down to your state elections and just follow the directions. And then once you find your candidates, it will show you who's running in your district. Then I want you to contact them on Facebook, email, phone, whatever it takes, and get them to sign the pledge, which simply states that if they get elected to the state legislature, they will co-sponsor, vote for, and defend our Article 5 resolution for congressional term limits. So for those of you that have not done this yet, there you go. Let's get this done, because this is what we've been doing for how long now?
Years we've been at this.
And we've got a team of people helping with this. We got volunteers helping with this. I was making calls this morning. I got, I think, 2 or 3 pledges in today. And this has got to come from you, the voters. And this is where I stand, guys. I don't vote for anybody unless they have signed the U.S. term limits pledge. Now, the good news is the candidates I wanted to vote for all signed it, so I don't have to withhold my vote from them. But that's the stand I'm taking. If you're not willing to support what 82% of the voters want, then if you can't listen to them, I don't trust you to listen to anything else that we want. So why would I want you representing me in Washington, D.C. or in my state? Okay, I'm done.
Well, you're absolutely right, Ken. And I was in my primary, I had 2 different individuals running for the congressional primary for Congress in the primary, and one of them had signed, one of them had not. Made the choice very easy.
Exactly.
Or shut up.
Well, yep. and we're not shy about doing voter education into those districts that have 2 different candidates, one that signed and one didn't. And we were very effective in Utah in this recent primary. We've got one coming up in Arizona. Of course, we're starting to do some damage in California and Washington. So, it's really happening as we're starting to impact races between those that sign the pledge and those that do not.
I'm going to post that one more time just for grins and giggles. How to ask for a pledge.
Yeah, it made it real easy. Heck, if you know your legislator, you don't have to go through all these steps. Just pick up the phone, call them, go to their next event. If they're having a town hall meeting, I know a lot of candidates right now, because of the COVID situation, they're asking people to contact them either through phone or on Facebook or Zoom. Make this a request that you, every time you do one of those things or go to them, ask them, have you signed the pledge yet? Where's your pledge? I don't see it up on their website. I haven't seen. Oh, let me show you real quick what we do with those. Let me just pull up my screen one last time here, guys. Whoops. I want to show the, here you go. So we will send out a press release. And so when you're talking to them, let them know that U.S. Term Limits will submit their pledge to their digital team, and they send it out as a press release. We do that to inform the voters in their district who supports this. We also do the digital team does a great job making nice memes that will go up on the state Facebook page. So all 50 states have a term limits page, and that's where these go. So if I was a candidate, why would I not sign this? It makes absolutely no sense not to sign this, unless you want to be a career politician or you support career politicians. Anyway. Okay, I had to get that off my chest, so I feel much better. Right, Ken?
Amen, brother. Amen.
So shut up or shut up.
Oh, I know, man. It's like, God, and we've got thousands of volunteers nationwide who are helping us, and to all of those people that are out there helping, God bless you and thank you. They're out there and they're getting it done. And this is it's an arduous process. Amending the Constitution is not easy, nor should it be. It is a very serious proposition, but term limits are very necessary. We've got term limits on the President of the United States. Why should Congress be any different? They shouldn't. So it's up to us to get it done. We, the people, own this country. We, the people, built the state governments, who in turn built the federal government. So it's through the states that we are going to fix what's broken in Washington, D.C. Article 5 is the power. It is the teeth of the 10th Amendment. It is the ultimate in reining in the federal government, but it's up to us to do it. I mean,
and if you look back at our history with amendments, so many of them began as a grassroots effort. Out of we've had 33 amendments proposed by Congress. The first 10, the first 12 were the Bill of Rights. Now, the ones after that, many of them began by this people in the states through this process of getting the state legislatures to apply for a convention to propose it. And so it takes time. It doesn't happen overnight, but this is one issue. I talk to people all the time. Can you think of another issue that can bring both sides of the political spectrum together? I can't.
No, there isn't anything else out there like this.
There's nothing else out there. So that's why we can get this done. And for the naysayers out there that want to whine and complain, just go stick your head back in the sand. We'll wake you up when it's done, and you can thank us then. So that's all I got to say.
That works for me. I like that. I like that. That works.
Yeah. All right. Another way you can help us is sign our petition. If you haven't signed our petition, sign it. Go to our website. It's right there, right when you land on our termlimits.com. Sign that and share it. That's how we grow support in the state. And what's important about the petition is that's how we communicate with the people in the state. So we got a vote coming up in a state like Maine or New Hampshire. The way we get out the calls to action is through our emails. Okay, that's our primary form of communication. If you don't sign that petition, you're not going to get our emails. And so if you want term limits for those people who are saying, well, nothing ever gets done, have you signed the petition? Have you taken that first step? Because if you haven't, then you're all talk and no action. And
when we have challenging races in their districts, that's where those petitions come in, because it's not just signing the petition. As long as you give us your address, we know which district you're in. So when we have a challenge in that district and we need your help, we can reach out to you and say, hey, click on this link, and automatically contact your legislator and demand that they sign term limits. So it's really important. That's how the petition really is the leverage that we have over these career politicians.
Well, not only that, we will send a list of the petition signers in the district to that candidate, to that legislator, so they know who and how many people in their own district, their hometown, their neighborhood have signed our petition. and that'll motivate people. It will motivate them to do the right thing. You know, politicians are very basic creatures. They only care about two things: pleasure and pain. That's it. All right. So if they feel like, and we're not in the pleasure business, we're not. We like to inflict pain, and we show them the pain if they don't do the right thing.
Oh, now that's not true. We like to thank. I think we prefer to thank than spank.
That's true. All right. You're right.
But it's just more fun. Just more fun to spank.
Ken likes to spank. I prefer to thank.
Oh, you know, I come from the street, so I'm kind of a street fighter.
All right. Well, everybody, that's what we need from you, and I hope you can make that happen. Are there any questions on the comment thread that you guys saw that we could quickly address before we close out this segment?
I didn't see any questions. I've been following it pretty closely. I didn't see any real questions though.
Okay. All right.
Pretty straightforward. We need your help, and if this isn't going to get done without you, so.
No.
All right, everybody. With that, I guess we'll sign off. So I want to thank everyone for joining us. Boy, this 30 minutes goes fast.
It does, doesn't it?
It really does. And
we just lit this candle.
Okay.
And share this video with your friends. Remember, all we want is 1 million likes.
1 million likes. Join the
Just
revolution.
1 million likes.
All right, everybody. I'm out of here.
Bye, everybody.